Hello, 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 Facebook. Hello, you guys. Welcome. It's time for another episode of my show, My Life, Our Lessons, where I share with you something, an experience I've had from my life, in hopes that somehow this experience can help you grow into your own experience of a higher level of well-being. I was told during my near death experience, when I had my near death experience in 2005, that one of the purposes for my life was to teach, to be a teacher of self love. And that I would teach it not just by what I was saying, but more so how I live. And so I wanted to create this kind of show where I just do stories from my life to actually offer some teaching on love and self love and well being from my own experience. So you can see, hopefully, straight. I'm going to try and be as transparent, as vulnerable as possible in this particular show, so that you can see straight through me and into your own life somehow. So today, I want to share with you an experience that actually happened to me today. And it was an experience I had with a guy who slid in my DMs. And it wasn't a pleasant experience for me. And what I learned from that experience for my own life and for my own growth. So let's get right into the experience, y'all. So early this morning, I woke up to a message from a guy that I was Facebook friends with. And this guy had been, over the past few weeks, had been liking a lot of my pictures and watching all of my stories and things like that. And I'm very in tune to energy. So, I read energy. I'm an intuitive, and I'm very attuned to energy. And one of the energies I'm very attuned with is when people like me, even if they haven't, verbalized it or vocalized it, or said it out loud. I'm very clear when somebody likes me, right? And this energy was very clear. This guy liked me. And although he hadn't verbalized it yet and hadn't reached out, I knew just from the energy that he liked me. And to this morning, he had actually verbalized it, right? So he had reached out and called me beautiful, and said he wanted to speak to me. He would love to have a chat with me, right? So otherwise, we're strangers. We've never worked together before. He's not a coworker. He's not like somebody I've done projects with, or he hasn't been a past client or anything like that. So it's basically a stranger. So if a stranger, who has been liking all of my pics and commenting about how beautiful I am, says they want to speak to me, then I ask kind of, what is it you really want to speak to me about? Because I want people to be clear, and I want to be clear about how I want to show up in a space, right? So if someone asks me about something, any type of inbox, and I get inboxes all the time from people that want to connect with me for some reason. Either they want to talk to me because they think I have something that can help them with their healing journey. Either they want to talk to me because they want to collab with me on some type of project. Either they want to talk to me because they're interested in me, or they want to talk to me just to kind of pick my brain. So, and because I get a lot of those type of messages and I get a lot of invitations for my time, I want to be clear about what this invitation is so that I can see if this is in alignment with me, right? If this is what I need to spend my energy on right now and to say yes to. So I ask, what are you interested in talking to me about, right? And the person kind of took offense and was like, "Is this a job interview?" And I was like, that was kind of a flag for him. I was like, wait a minute. And I thought, well, maybe he misread the tone. And I was like, well, and me, because I'm silly and I joke, and I was like, absolutely. Right. And I was like, it absolutely is, but it's a non-paid position. It's probably going to be, intern with great references afterwards. And the joke was kind of misread, I guess, and they took a further offense. And they said, well, so I asked again. I said, well, hey, I'm just joking. I'm sorry if you took offense. And they said, responded that, um, is money all I think about, and I said, I'm sorry if you took offense, but what I was very serious about was I want to know why you want to connect with me. Are you attracted to me? Are you wanting to connect with me because of a business opportunity, or you want to collab with me on something? I'm just trying to get really clear. And their response was, I don't know, right? I don't know why I want to connect with you. I need to see that. I need to read the energy and see. And so for me, that's not a clarity for me. And that's not interesting to me. If you're not clear about why you want to connect with me, then that actually sends me a signal you're about to waste my time. Right? Like, if you can't state, hey, I find you attractive and I'd like to possibly get to know you better or see if there's any possible connection. Because I'm all for trying to feel out the energy and the vibe. But also, you're very clear about why you sent me a message because you sent the message to me. I didn't send the message to you. So this is all going in my head, right? You sent the message to me. I didn't send the message to you. You know why you sent that message. You know what your initial connection is. Even if you don't know, hey, I want to date you. Hey, even if it's I just find you sexy and I want to fuck, right? I just need clarity. Like, just tell me what the thing is that you're coming at me for, so I can make a decision from my end if this is something I need to offer my time up. Because again, you guys, I'm out here coaching clients. I'm got launching new projects. I'm building a whole new online school. My time is, it's I have time. My time is being spent in other places. So for me to take my time out and connect with a stranger who's not somebody I've ever connected with, I need to make sure that this is not an expenditure of my time that is going to deplete me. So I was just asking for clarity around that, and that's what I do in my life. I ask for clarity for anyone who is in my inbox that wants to connect. Again, whether you want to interview me for your podcast or whatever, I need to be clear. What do you want this connection to? What is this about? So that I can see if this is going to be a fuel for my energy or a depletion. And so it just turned really south after that. And the guy just it I ended up having to block the guy because he accused me of, that my approach was very what was the word, um disappointing. And I was kind of taken aback. I was like, wait a minute, like, I've been clear, I've made jokes, I've been cool in this experience. You're the one that's been on the offense the whole time. What is this about? And I had to be, I was like, hey, actually, your interaction has been disappointing. You've not been clear. You've not answered my questions. You've been very vague. And the vagueness, I'm going to say no because I don't know if this vagueness is something I want to say yes to. So after this interaction, I ended up having to block the guy. And after the interaction, I was kind of sitting there because I was angry because this was in the morning and I had a podcast interview right after this interaction. And after the podcast interview, I was working with a new client. And so I usually like to go into both those spaces when I'm being interviewed for a podcast or any type of interview. And also when I'm going in my clients, I like to go with a very high vibration. I like to go very centered. So I had to take some time out for a second. I had about like maybe 15 minutes before my interview. And I asked my guides, like, what is this about for me? What is this about for me? Because this situation, if it appeared, it obviously is something for me. Because here's something I learned in my journey, in my healing journey, that there's a quote I love from A Course in Miracles that says, "Everything is a lesson God would have me learn. Everything is a lesson God would have me learn." Now, what I learned when I had my near death experience and I crossed over to the other side and I met Source and had a conversation with Source is that God is literally the energy and the experience of love. God is love. It is unconditional love. So, what I now say is everything is a lesson that love would have me learn. Everything is a lesson unconditional love would have me learn. So, I asked my guides, what is the lesson here that love is asking me to learn through this experience? This experience showed up for me. So what is the lesson that love is asking me to learn here? And what my guides told me blew me away. And it shifted me. It shifted me from being angry with this guy and I was also angry, by the way, because this guy was cute. I liked this guy. If this guy had it gone any other way, we would have been talking, right? Because I thought this guy was cute. I had looked at his page. He seemed like a guy that I could vibe with, that I would be in alignment with, and he seemed like the type of guy that I like, right? And so I was kind of disappointed. I was like, man, I was looking forward to, getting in touch with this guy, and that was probably one of the reasons why I was so angry because it went so left. It went so opposite of what I was expecting. And so I asked my guys, I said, okay, can you tell me? And what they shared with me shifted me so much that I went from being angry and resentful at this guy to being grateful for him, for being grateful for this experience. And so I want to share with you what my guide said, and I wrote them down in my journal here because I keep my, I talk to my guides daily, and when they give me messages for my growth, and especially big aha messages like this, I always write it down. I keep it so that I can go back and I can make sure that I use them. Also, it was they gave me a lot, so I wanted to make sure I didn't forget them. So I want to share with you there were four things that they told me about why this was for me. So I want to share them with you. The first was when the pandemic first hit, I asked the same question. What is this pandemic about for me? What is the arrival of corona and all that's happening with the shutdown and all that? What is this about for me? And again, what was the lesson love was is asking me to learn from this. And one of the things that they shared with me was that in this space, I'm going to learn in a very deep way how to let go of the good so that I can receive the delicious. To let go of the good so that I can receive the delicious. So I want to give you a little background on that. So when I had my near death experience and I made the commitment that I was going to live this life, I was going to come back and I wasn't going to just transition and die. I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. I made the decision though that I wasn't going to live an average life. I didn't want an average life. I didn't come back from death to live average. I wanted a delicious life. I wanted a life that tasted really, really good to me and that felt really, really good to me. And I made that commitment that I was going to learn how to live such a life. And my healing journey was across several years of learning how to do that. And it took me a while because there was a lot of unlearning I had to do. And there was a lot of things I had to heal to, one, really feel worthy of that type of life, and also to elicit the behaviors that open my energy up to receive this type of life. So one of the things that they were talking about was like, in order to receive delicious, you have to stop signing up and saying yes and keeping hold of the good. Like, if something comes to you and it's good, and it may be good, right? And for instance, I had an experience during the pandemic where I was dating someone, and from the outside, he was everything that people would pray for. I mean, every box that people would pray for. He was drop dead beautiful. He was very well paid. He had did his own healing work. He was, did I say he was drop dead beautiful? Because he was. And he just had all these check marks that many people would pray for. Like, this was the person that people literally pray for, and they put down on their vision board, this, please send me a guy like this. But when we began to date, there were some things in our experience that bored me, and that I found myself not, like, we weren't on the same page on some things. And so although he was good, he wasn't delicious. He didn't bring me full joy. And I'm here for full joy. And so I had to say no. I had to leave that. I had to let go of that, of dating him. I had to leave that relationship. And they reminded me of this here. They were saying one of the things that happens when you make a decision to experience something, that you want something, and that is the higher level of desire that you want, and it requires you to, make a decision, to make your claim in the stand that this is what I want. Then one of the things that the universe will do is they'll make sure that you make your claim in the stand for that, and that you're not going to settle for something less. And so one of the things that happens for us in our lives is when we make a desire about what we really want. So whether we want some type of a certain type of relationship, whether we want a certain type of work, like I want work that pays me six figures, or I want to really do work that's myself in the world, or I'm ready to live my truth. One of the things that's going to happen is the universe is going to send you an experience that is the opposite of that, or that is just maybe at a level less than that, to see if you're really serious about what you say you want. So, in order for me to say that I'm ready for the delicious, I have to say no to the good. And in the past, by the way, because um, in my past, because I had an issue with feeling enough, and I had an issue with, not really attracting the type of guys that I wanted. So any type of guy that would come, I would settle for this. So in the past, I would have rearranged myself to make this interaction with this guy work, even though it wasn't setting right with me. Even though when the first time when he didn't get my joke, when he didn't get that I was joking, that was a sign for me, and I was like, this isn't, I don't think this is gonna work. And then when he started to accuse me of not being disappointing, I would have tried to still rearrange myself and try to work this. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, let's try this again or whatever, to try and make that work. But this time, because I know what I want, and I know I want delicious, and this didn't feel like it, I stood my ground and I said, absolutely not, this is not going to work out for me. Right. And they were telling me this was one, you'll attract these situations to you in the beginning to begin to strengthen your energy. Because when you stand, by the way, when we stand in these situations where something that is a little less than what we want comes, and we say, thank you for the experience, but I can hold out. I'm going to hold out for what I really want. This isn't it. And I'm not going to settle. Now, there are many different messages out there, even in the spiritual fields, around you have to accept whatever life offers. But what my guides have shown me over the years is that you have to know what you want, and you're a worthy being. You are unconditionally loved. And so when you're what that means is life wants you to have what you want, as long as it serves your truth, the true expression and expansion and growth of your soul, as long as it serves that, right? But so if you want more delicious and a delicious experience, that serves the expansion of your life and soul. And so you have to say no to everything that's not that. And this was my opportunity. Life was sending me another opportunity to make sure I am solid in my energy to say, I'm only going to accept a delicious life. I am not going to accept something that's less than that just to have sex, or just to have, somebody calling me to date, or just to have somebody flatter me. If it's not fulfilling what I really want, I don't make space for it. I only have space for what I want. I only have space for that in my energy, right? And so that was the first thing that they were showing me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I got it." Right? I'm now like really starting to begin to settle into the experience of holding my energy for what I really want. So here's number two. So that was the first thing. Number two is um, there's something I've been doing from the start of July, which is I made a big yes board. And it's not a vision board, it's my big yes board. And this is my things that are my yeses for life, for why I'm here, for what I want to experience, for how I want to shine my light in the world. These are my big fucking yeses, right? And so I call it my big yes board. And um on this yes board, I have the things that are my big yeses right now. And one of the things that I had was this area of the type of men I wanted to attract into my space, the type of men I wanted to date, the type of men I wanted to have sex with, the type of men I wanted to get to know. And what my guys were telling me was, what I had been doing with this month is I had been visualizing, spending, about 10 minutes to 15 minutes a day with my big yes board, visualizing my life already manifested like this. Like, I'm already doing the things that help me shine my light on my big yes board. I'm already doing the things that I really enjoy on my big yes board. Like, this isn't something that I'm trying to be in the future. This is something I'm trying to embody in my today. So I had been spending time on that. And what my guides were saying was, what's been happening was I had done on my big yes board and in my visualizations, and really helping myself embody the energy of the big yes. When it got to the men, what I had been doing was I had been really focused more on how they looked and not how they felt to me. Like, how the relationship with these guys felt, not necessarily even long term, but how my engagement with these men felt. So in my visualizations, I've been seeing these guys walk up to me and talk to me and speak to me, and how beautiful they are. And the guy that was in my inbox looked like this type of man. He looked exactly like that, right? He was the look of the type of guy that I like, and that I had been visualizing. But what he wasn't was how I want my interactions to feel. And they were like, remember, your visualizations are not so much about the sight as they are the sense, as they are how you want this to feel. So now he was evidence of my visualization starting to manifest. So these type of guys are starting to slide in my DMs. They're starting to talk to me. They're starting to say, hey, I think they're starting to come to me. But because I hadn't been clear on how I wanted these interactions to feel, I wasn't manifesting them how I wanted them to feel because I hadn't really gotten clear on that yet. So my guys were like, this is a lesson again in love, that love is trying to ask you to learn, is to be clear. To be clear on what you want, because you're going to manifest what you want and you're going to attract what you want, but you have to you got to get clear. And so that was a part, but you got to get clear on the feeling. This is the big part that so many of us miss when we're doing manifestation or attraction work or transformation work. We get so focused on the thing that we want, and we don't focus on how we want to feel with that thing. And the real reason why you want that thing in the first place is you want that thing because how you think you're going to feel when you have that thing. And I hadn't been really focused on that enough. On the other areas of my life, like on the other yeses, with my work and with traveling and my next home and all that, I had really been grounding into the feeling of that. But I hadn't been grounding into the feeling of how do I want my interactions with these guys to feel, right? And so I was like, oh, I need to spend some time and get clear about that. I know for one, I want clarity. I want men who are clear about their desire for me, and that they not only are they clear about it, but they are vulnerable and transparent enough to express that. Because I'm the same type of dude. I'm going to express my desire for someone and why I like them and how I like them. And I would like the same reciprocal type of energy, right? And I hadn't been really clear on that desire, that that's a part of my desire. I don't just want you to be beautiful. I want you to be vulnerable. I want you to be able to communicate well with me, even if it's just for one night, even if it's just a one night thing. I want our connection to be vulnerable. I want it to be clear and honest. I want it to be real. I want us to full out bring our truths on this table and serve ourselves our delicious truths, because I don't want anything other than that. Anything other than a dude's full, honest, full 100% transparent, vulnerable self is not tasty to me. It doesn't taste good to me. It's just, I don't live like that anymore. I used to be on the DL, and that was like, let me just get this, this nut, and let me get out of here. And that's not how I exist in the world now. Even if I'm just having a casual, sensual or sexual experience with somebody, I still like connection. I still like openness. So I hadn't really clarified that. So that was number 2 for me. That was my lesson to learn, right? And the other thing was, so that was 1 and 2. And 3 and 4 are the things that really shook me. 1 and 2 are the things that I really was like, oh, okay, I see how this is about me as well. It wasn't just about the guy. It wasn't just about, oh, he's just not the right fit for you, or this is about him projecting his wounds or whatever. But number 3 and 4 were really where it kind of really started to hit home for me. And 3, when my guides told me, was that the reason why the interaction went the way it did is because he was scared. And I knew what that was, because I used to be the same thing, especially in my interactions when I'm trying to talk to somebody I'm interested in. I used to be the same scared. And what they told me was that he was scared to really, truly lay his vulnerable desire out, what he truly wanted and what his true interest was out, in case you rejected him, in case you denied him. And you could have denied him in many ways. You could have said, hey, man, I'm not even gay. I'm not even attracted to dudes. Why would you send me a message like that? Or you could have denied him and just said, I'm not interested in you. I'm not interested in connecting. And he would have taken that in as further being a rejection and being feeling not enough. And they showed me that that was how what his wound was. And I know that wound because I operated like that for years. And it was like, don't you remember? Again, everything is a lesson love would have me learn. So this was a cry for love from him, from where he had been starved of love, where he had been rejected and not felt enough. And I had lived that life. And that's why I didn't used to, I would hide my desires from people. I would beat around the bush and hoping that they would kind of get it. Like I used to be a person that would never approach somebody. I would never approach somebody I was interested in. If I was interested in you, it was like you would have to come to me because and the reason why you would have to come to me wasn't because I didn't notice you or I was too busy doing other things. It was because I felt that if I went to you and I expressed my interest and you did not reciprocate that and you said, you weren't interested in me, I would be so crushed and it would reaffirm the feeling I had that I wasn't enough somehow. I wasn't attractive enough, right? And so I used to not do that for years, eons, a whole lifetime. I used to not do that because I used to not really, I would beat around the bush. If I did have a conversation with someone, and there's past lovers of mine who can tell you in my past that I would never tell them. As a matter of fact, I remember this one time, this guy I was dating, he was drop dead gorgeous, like magazine cover gorgeous, literally. He was a model, magazine cover gorgeous man. And I really enjoyed this guy. But there came this point where I felt like I needed to go in a different direction. And so I broke up with him. And I remember him saying this to me when we were breaking up, when I broke up with him. I remember him saying this. He said, I knew you were going to break up with me. And I said, why did you know, how did you know that? He said, I knew you really didn't like me. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, because you never told me that you liked me. And you never told me you found me attractive. And it was this big wake up call, and how I saw how crushed this man was when I thought he was the most beautiful thing I had ever met. And I really liked him. But I was so scared of opening my heart and sharing my heart to him and actually telling him how I felt in case that wasn't returned to me. And if that was returned to me, it was going to crush my sense of self-esteem. So I wouldn't open up and I wouldn't be vulnerable and I definitely wouldn't put my full desires out there. And in this inbox conversation this morning, this is what I had done for this guy, to ask him to lay his desire out. Like, are you attracted to me? Is this what you're contacting me for? And the reason why he was so vague was because he was so afraid. And I understand that. That doesn't mean I need to accept that because again, I want people, I'm very clear, I want the delicious. And the delicious is for people who can show me their hearts, who can honestly tell me, hey dude, I'm attracted to you. Hey man, I like you. Hey, I think you're hot. I think you're sexy and or I like your vibe and I want to see more about it. And what I had understood was what my guys were saying was one, you know, this is the part where he had been withheld from love and he doesn't know how to offer love. And one, me doing this, me standing up for myself and saying, hey, this was too vague and I'm not okay with that. This is helping him. This was the lesson he had attracted. So when souls come in and when you have a lesson experience, it's for the both of you all, and both of your souls have agreed for both of you all to play the part in the part that you're playing to help the person expand. And so my part for him was helping him understand a bit. And he may not get it yet. He may not get it right away, but he'll get it eventually. That you have to be clear with your heart and your intentions if you really want what you want. In order to get what you really want, you've got to be vulnerable and you got to be clear with your heart. And so that was my part for him. But he came for to teach. He came for to help me as well, for a lesson for my growth. And he reflected to me. He was a mirror reflection, right? And so all of our relationships, by the way, every relationship you have, especially the ones that you are continuous relationships, the main responsibility that they have as a soul is they come in to reflect, to be your mirror reflection. And they come back to reflect to you how you feel about yourself and what you believe about the world. They're going to be a mirror reflection of that. You can't escape that. They are going to reflect that. They're going to reflect that in some things they say to you, in how they behave to you, and all of that. So, number four, what my guides were saying was for me, was the reason he came again was there were still places in me where I was afraid, where I am still afraid to be vulnerable and to speak out, um, to speak all of my truth and to lay it on the table fully, because I'm afraid that if I laid it on the table, I would get rejected. And as they said that, I knew exactly the place that they're talking about. And I was like, oh, got it. If I want delicious, I can't keep hiding this. I can't keep keeping this. And see, here's the thing that happens when we do this type of stuff, because when we have these behaviors that are trying to protect us, like, not being able to express what you really want for fear of how the person is going to respond to you. So that may keep you safe in that may make you feel safe, right? So I didn't express how I really felt, so he couldn't reject me, so I feel safe. But what it also does in the same time, so it may help you feel safe in that moment, but what it also does is it withholds you from love. And so you begin to get starved from love. And nothing that is starved of love can be healthy, and nothing that is starved from love is going to have a delicious life. I've seen this many times where I've hid parts of myself and I haven't expressed something, or I haven't told all of the truth for fear that for like I need to keep myself safe, because if I tell them this, they're going to reject me. It's going to hurt, so I'm going to keep myself safe. Or if I tell them this and they're not okay with this, they're going to leave me or whatever. And I try to keep it safe. But what ends up happening, and what ended up happening in every one of those situations, is what I found out later was you don't allow yourself to be fully loved, because nobody ever really knows the full you. They don't know the whole you. They don't know the true you. They don't ever get to know the unedited, unmasked, unhidden you. And you never reveal that part to the world, and you never get to find out that that part is worthy and lovable. Because that's the only way you find out. The only way you really find out that you're wholly worthy and that you're lovable, and all of your being belongs in this world, no matter how ugly you may think that truth is. It belongs and is safe in this world, and this world loves it. The only way you're going to find out is if you present it. If you bring it out of the shadow and into the light. You have to, because what ends up happening, and I've seen this before, and I've done a whole videos on this before, when you bring your hidden truth, the truths you've had in the dark, and you bring them to the light, and you offer them over to the light, what ends up happening is the light takes them, and it says, oh my God, how beautiful this is. And then it does this thing where it shows you that in the light is where this thing has always belonged and where it will always belong, and that there is no part of it that doesn't belong in the light. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it with every one of my ugly truths. When I have brought them to the light, when I was afraid to tell people that, I had kidney failure, when I was afraid to tell people that I had HIV, when I was afraid to tell people that I didn't have any money, when I was afraid to tell people, I was broken, I need some help. Whenever I was afraid and I was hiding things, when I finally brought them to the light, what I found, instead of people rejecting me, was they loved me. That I was always lovable. Again, everything is a lesson unconditional love would have me learn. One of the big lessons is we are unconditional love ourselves and unconditionally loved by this universe. And so this guy came to help me see where, oh my God, there are some spaces that I'm existing in still, even with my dating, even with, dating with guys, where I'm not really sharing all of myself. And I'm not sharing all of myself because I'm afraid that if I shared this part of myself, they wouldn't like me or they would reject me. And I can't ever get the delicious type of relationships that I want, you know, the delicious type of engagements with men that I want when I'm not being all of myself. I can't live a delicious life that I came back to life for, by the way, if I'm not willing to bear all of my soul on the slab. I didn't come here for an average life. I came here for a delicious one. And that requires me to put my whole soul on the slab of life, to leave nothing hidden, nothing edited, nothing suppressed or repressed, to bring it all out. And I'm clear about what that is for me. And I'm now about to do the work to heal that. And that's when the shift happened, when I understood. See, here's the thing that happens when you understand the message that love has for you behind whatever situation has arisen, whatever challenge. What ends up happening is you shift from resentment or anger and you begin to be grateful. Although that experience with that guy wasn't what I would have preferred, I am so grateful to him for how he did it. Because without him, I wouldn't have asked these questions. I wouldn't have looked at these pieces of myself. And I wouldn't know what now, oh yeah, I can heal this. I can heal this quickly. I can do this. And now I'm going to be open because this healing is going to raise my vibration. And I will now, in this clarity, now that I'm going to get clear on, oh, I want guys that feel like this, not just to look like this. I want them to look like this, and I want my interactions to feel like this. I'm going to attract better to me now too. I'm going to attract better because, by the way, your vibration and your level of clarity determines who gets to show up in your life and how they get to act when they get there. That your vibration is in control of all of that and only that. And that's all that it is. Their vibration determines who gets to show up in your life and how they get to act once they get there. And I wasn't fully clear, so I'm getting interactions that aren't clear. And I was hiding still, and so I'm getting people who are still hiding their feelings too. And now that when I heal my own vibration and I get clear, I'm going to only attract clear people. And when I'm no longer hiding and when my whole soul is on the slab, then those are the type of people that are going to come to me as well. People who are going to have revealed their whole souls on the slab. And that's when things are going to get fucking delicious for me. And that's what I signed up for. So let me know if this resonated with you in your own life. If you got an aha from anything I shared from this story in your own life, let me know in a comment. I see some of you all are saying hello and everything, and I love that. But let me know if there's something in here that you say, this was an aha for me. I can think about this, or oh, you know what? That's me too. I can see me with that. That's my lesson as well. Let me know. Place that in the comment, and let's continue to grow, and let's continue to self-love our way to higher and higher levels of well-being. The levels of well-being that we are worthy of, and that life so deeply wants us to experience. Until next time, I love you. Now go love yourself. Bye.